Chicago fans were hoping for Russell Wilson. They got Andy Dalton. You got to be wearing bear goggles to like the way that looks. I'm Robin Lundberg here with Bill Enright. And Bill, how disappointed should Bears fans be with Andy Dalton at QB? Like, look, if your idea was Russell Wilson, of course that's going to be disappointing. But I don't know if they should necessarily be disappointed they didn't get Russell Wilson because that was like speculation. Obviously, we know they tried according to reports, but that was always the pie in the sky result. What you have to be disappointed in is that you didn't have a quarterback where you were so desperate, that the Mitch Trubisky draft pick didn't work out, that Nick Foles didn't work out. So I think their management and situation overall is what they should be disappointed about.
The bear goggles. I got to remember that one. That's a very good one, Robin. We have to set the scene about these quarterbacks. Now you quickly mentioned it, but let's just go over that 2017 draft to put yourself in the mindset of some of these Chicago Bear fans. They have the third overall pick. You know they need a quarterback. Somehow the San Francisco 49ers convince them to flip-flop picks. They go from number 3 to number 2. They also gave up a third and a fourth, and then next year's third round just to move up one spot because somehow John Lynch and the Niners convinced the Bears that they were going to take Mitch Trubisky. Okay, fine. They take Mitch Trubisky with the number 2 overall pick. The problem is 10th overall is Patrick Mahomes, 12th overall is Deshaun Watson. Did anyone have any NFL draft analyst, any NFL, all these draft touts, if you will, did any of them have Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson being these incredible top 3 all-time great NFL quarterbacks? No, absolutely not. But it just starts to stick the knife in just a little bit when you see guys like Mahomes and Watson have this incredible success and you're stuck with Mitch Trubisky. Then fast forward a couple years, right? They get Nick Foles. They trade a fourth round pick for Nick Foles, sign him to a $24 million contract, 3 years, 21 million of it guaranteed. Now, that was just 1 year ago. Andy Dalton was also a free agent at that time. His contract that he signed with the Dallas Cowboys was a 1-year deal, fully guaranteed, but for only $3 million. So what changed in the last year that they liked Andy Dalton at $10 million, but didn't like him at $3 million? That is the mindset. That is the state of affairs right now going through the Chicago Bears front office, and it has to be driving their fans absolutely bonkers because none of it really makes a whole lot of sense.
Well, you know they love the Bears in Chi-Town, obviously, but there hasn't been much to love. As far as, the contract numbers for Dalton, even backup QBs can get in that range. Do you feel bad for the guy at all? Because he's been a pretty good quarterback over the course of his career. And now all of a sudden, everybody is so, totally apoplectic at the thought
Yeah.
of him being the QB for the Bears because they thought they were getting rust.
Yeah, it's not Andy Dalton's fault by any means. I mean, he's just signing his name to the contract, right? It's more about what the Bears expected would be under center for them this year. The Russell Wilson situation, you mentioned it. Total pie in the sky scenario that somehow the Chicago Bears cling to. Russell Wilson posted a picture that he was on an airplane and everyone's going nuts. Are you flying into O'Hare? Are you coming to Chicago? So Andy Dalton is kind of just caught up in the mix of all this nonsense that is happening over with the Bears quarterback for the last 4 years. Not to any fault of his own. And you mentioned it. He has actually been a pretty good quarterback for not to mention a really inept, bad franchise in the Cincinnati Bengals in the majority in the prime of his career. When he came in for Dak Prescott, he did play okay. Of course, he had the COVID situation and he got concussed. But aside from that, Andy Dalton has had a pretty good career in the NFL.
Though the odds for the Bears to win the division got worse after the signing, and the mood of Bears fans certainly got worse as well.